In this video, I will explain how to use the given Microsoft Excel file to generate these Course Outcome Attainment Reports and Program Outcome Attainment Reports. To generate these two reports, begin by opening the designated MS Excel file. If you take a look at the lower left corner, you'll notice that there are 6 worksheets within this file. The 2 worksheets we need for generating the reports I demonstrated are located here. These reports contain various values like the ones depicted, and these values are computed in the preceding 4 sheets. Therefore, to produce an accurate and comprehensive CO report and PO report, we must interact with the initial 4 worksheets. First, click on the Basic Data worksheet. All the worksheets and cells are locked to prevent the possibility of undergoing changes in the formulas. All the cells in which data is expected from you are highlighted in green color. In this basic data sheet, we enter basic information covering both program-specific and course-specific details, like what is the program? Which department is offering that program? What is the name of the course for which we are generating the CO report and PO report? When did the student study the course? What is the type of the course that is core theory or elective course or laboratory, etc.? How many COs are there for this course? What are their descriptions? What are the targeted CO attainment percentages for all the COs? What are the PIN numbers and names of the students in that batch? For example, if we have 180 students, we have to enter all the 180 students' PIN numbers here and their names here. We are not going to use their names, but it is for our convenience. Once we enter the course name, department, program name, course code, and PIN numbers here, all the other 5 sheets are going to be populated with this basic information. We need not enter the same information again and again. For example, if you observe any mistakes in the PIN numbers later, come to this basic data worksheet and correct them here. In this demonstration, I am generating CO and PO reports for the software engineering course. It is studied by CSE students in their second year, second semester as part of their BTech in Computer Science and Engineering program. So go to the department and choose the department which is offering that program. Then choose the program that they are pursuing. Here it is, that is BTech in Computer Science and Engineering. Then enter the name of the course. In this case, it is Software Engineering. Then choose the university, that is JNTUC, and then choose the year and semester in which the students have studied this course, which is 2. Then choose the type of the course, that is core theory, laboratory, elective, etc., and then enter the regulation here. It can be R19 or R20 or R23. Then enter the GEC course code here and the JNTUK course code here. Enter LTP, Lecture Tutorial Practical Hours here. In this part of the worksheet, specify the COs that are covered in the mid-examination. If a CO is covered, enter Y here, and if not, leave it blank. These are the sample course exit survey questions. Next, navigate to the DA Marks worksheet, where DA stands for Descriptives and Assignments. In this sheet, we will calculate the contribution of descriptive and assignment marks to CO attainment, with the course code and other necessary information already populated from the Basic Data worksheet. This worksheet consists of 3 parts: data entry, data validation, and calculations. In the first part, enter question numbers, CO numbers corresponding to those questions, and the maximum marks for each question. Proceed to enter descriptive 1 marks in the first 3 columns and assignment 1 marks in the next 5 columns. In the subsequent 3 columns, input descriptive 2 marks, and in the last 5 columns, enter assignment 2 marks. When entering data, for absent students during the descriptive exam, input capital A for all 3 questions under that paper. For assignments not submitted by students, use capital N to denote not submitted. You will enter marks for all students in the batch, which can vary in size, such as 60, 120, or more. In this example, we have 180 students in the batch. The second part validates the data entered in the first part. If there are discrepancies, it will be highlighted. For instance, if a student's maximum marks for question no one are 5, but you mistakenly entered 8, the respective cell will display NV for not valid and highlight it in red. After entering marks, please check for red cells marked NV and correct any errors. In the third part, calculations are performed to determine CO-wise attainments. For example, the value 0.53 represents the CO1 attainment of the first student. Similarly, 1.53 is the CO2 attainment of the same student, and 8.24 is the CO3 attainment for the same student. Please interpret these numbers accordingly. In the rows, you'll notice numbers like 7, 7, and 12. These represent the sums of the maximum marks for the respective COs. For instance, there are 3 questions covering CO1. The sum of their maximum marks is 7. CO3, on the other hand, is covered in both mid-term exams, with 4 questions in total and a sum of 12 for their maximum marks. Please apply this understanding to other values in the row. Now, scroll down the worksheet to the section where we calculate CO class averages. The first row displays the CO numbers, while the second row shows the sum of the maximum marks for which the COs were assessed. For example, 3.25 represents the average attainment of CO, one for all 180 students. 3.42 signifies the average attainment of CO2 for the entire class, and 5.75 denotes the average attainment of CO3. Similarly, you should comprehend the other values in a similar manner. In the final row, we compute the percentage of the average attainment of COs. This calculation involves dividing the average attainment by the sum of the maximum marks and then multiplying by 100. For instance, 3.25 by 7 into 100 results in 46.4%, and the same calculation applies to other values. The values that are transferred to other sheets are highlighted in light yellow. This concludes our work on this sheet. Now let's move on to the quiz worksheet. In this sheet, we calculate the contribution of quiz marks to the CO attainment. This worksheet consists of 2 parts: data entry, data validation, and calculations. In the first part, we enter the quiz marks. Input quiz 1 marks in this column and quiz 2 marks in this next column. Enter quiz marks for all the 180 students. If a student was absent for the quiz, use a capital A to indicate their absence. In the second part, the entered data is validated and necessary calculations are performed. At the bottom of the sheet, you will find the calculated class average attainments, like the DA marks worksheet. The average of Quiz 1 marks scored by all 180 students is 4.71, and the average for Quiz 2 is 5.10. These averages are converted into percentages. For instance, to calculate the class average percentage for Quiz 1, you would use the formula 4.71 by 10 into 100, which equals 47.07%. Similarly, for Quiz 2, it would be 5.10 by 10 into 100, which equals 51.02%. Since we do not have information on question-wise coverage of COs for quiz exams, we assume that the average attainment percentage is the same for all COs covered in a particular quiz exam. For example, if Quiz 1 covers CO1, CO2, and CO3, the average attainment percentage will be the same for all of them. CO3 is covered in both quiz exams, so we calculate the average of the two and proceed accordingly. You have now completed work on this sheet. Now, click on the C worksheet, which stands for Semester End Examination. In this sheet, we enter the semester end examination grades to compute their contributions to CO attainment, the affiliating university awards grades for the students, and we will use these grades to estimate the marks obtained by each student. Please note that these marks include both the final internal marks and semester end exam marks. Like previous worksheets, this sheet also has 2 parts. data entry, validation, and calculations. In the first part, you'll enter the final internal marks scored by all students in this column. In the next column, enter the C grades for all the students. In the second part, data validation is performed. The sheet checks for potential errors such as entering values that are out of range, for example, entering 32 in a cell instead of entering 23, inputting grades not provided by affiliating university. Example, grade X. If any of these issues are detected, the respective cell will be highlighted in red and it will display NV denoting not valid. After entering the data, please review these red cells and correct any errors before proceeding. The sheet uses the grades you enter to look up and fill cells with the appropriate marks based on the provided grade table. As mentioned earlier, these grades are determined by adding the final internal and semester end examination marks for each student. However, for CO attainment calculations, we only consider the marks obtained in the end examination. So, it's necessary to subtract the internal marks from the total marks computed out of 100. The sheet does this automatically. For example, if a student scored 59 out of 100 and had 23 internal marks, the sheet will calculate 59 minus 23, resulting in 36 marks. Similarly, for a student who scored 99 out of 100 with 17 internal marks, it calculates 99 minus 17, resulting in 82 marks. This process fills the column K with semester end examination marks. Scroll down the sheet. Sheet automatically calculates the average marks scored by the students in the semester end examination. Here it is 42.10. It then calculates the percentage of 42.10 out of 70 marks, which would be 60.20%. Since the end examination is conducted by an affiliating university, the individual students' question-wise marks are not accessible to the institution. So we assume the class average percentage, same for all the COs. In this case, the percentage attainment of all students as calculated is 60.20%. We will take this 60.20% for all the COs as shown here. Once you complete the C worksheet, the data will be automatically sent to the CO report worksheet for further processing. Now, let's go to the CO report worksheet. In this sheet, course-related basic information is automatically populated from the first worksheet and contributions from other sheets. That is, DA marks, quiz, and SEE contributions are extracted from their respective worksheets. Now, we can proceed to calculate attainment. Direct CO attainment is calculated as the sum of 20% of DA contribution, 10% of quiz contribution, and 70% of SEE contribution. This column is where you enter the course exit survey values, which represent the indirect attainment of COs. The overall CO attainment percentage is the sum of 90% of direct CO attainment and 10% of indirect CO attainment. In this case, it is 90% of 56.13 plus 10% of 79.50, which will be 58.46%. It indicates the overall CO attainment for CO1. Similarly, other values are computed. This column contains the CO targeted percentages entered in the first worksheet. In the last column, the difference between the CO targeted percentage and the overall CO attainment percentage is calculated. For instance, if the targeted value for CO1 is 80% and the attained percentage is only 58.46%, the difference is 21.54%. This difference represents the gap that needs to be addressed. Similarly, for CO4, the targeted percentage is 54%, and the attainment percentage is 58.75%. The difference is minus 3.75%, indicating that the target has been exceeded by 3.75%. The 2D column bar chart plots CO attainment percentages and targeted CO percentages side by side for visual comparison. Take the printout of this CO report worksheet. Write observations and actionable points for improvement. Faculty member or course coordinator and HOD need to sign the report to finalize. The finalized CO report is then filed in the course file for future reference and improvement planning. This process allows for ongoing assessment and continuous improvement in course delivery and learner outcomes. Finally, click on PO Report. As with previous sheets, basic information is automatically populated from other sheets. In this sheet, we must enter the CO-PO correlation values. These values indicate how strongly the CO is correlated to a particular PO. Enter 3 for a strong correlation, 2 for moderate, and 1 for a weak correlation. COAR's contributions to POs and PSOs are computed based on their correlation values. For example, consider CO2's contribution to PO5. If the correlation is 2, the PO5 attainment will be 2 by 3 of the CO2 attainment percentage. So, if the CO2 attainment percentage is 59.24, its contribution to PO5 would be 2 by 3 into 59.24, which equals 39.49. Similarly, if CO2 is weakly correlated with PSO2, its PO attainment will be 1 by 3 of CO2 attainment percentage, resulting in 19.75 for PSO2. In this row, the average PO attainment values are computed. This 58.79 is the average of these 5 values. So, finally, these average PO attainment values in this row indicate the COs of this course's contributions to POs and PSOs. Likewise, the average PO attainment percentages of all the courses under this BTEC in CSE are to be computed and taken to a separate Excel file. There, we calculate the POs and PSOs' contributions to the PEOs. Hope you understand. If any queries, contact your HOD or IQAC coordinator. Thank you.